Good morning, everybody. This is Deanna with Food Bank Beautiful, and it is Wednesday, July 24th. It is my brother's birthday, so I'll need to call him a little bit later. Today started out exceedingly challenging. Somebody, not going to point any fingers, left the gate open on the chickens yesterday after I let them out to play in the evening. So I woke up this morning and they were all over my yard, all over my garden, some in the front yard, and then the ones that were in the front yard have gone deep now into the neighbor's yard. It's been 3 hours. My husband and I have gone twice to see if we can find them. We cannot find them. I'm pretty unhappy about it. There was some language and some name calling. Not proud of it. Now, my husband did not call me names and I did not call him names, but one of us was calling the chickens every name in the book. So if you guys have said to me, oh, we love this chicken, we want this chicken, I'll be sending that chicken to you in the post. Okay? They're all on my list this morning. Also, they ate a bunch of my kale and a bunch of my red leaf lettuce. So yeah, mommy's not happy. Actually, I'm happy aside from the chickens. So guys around the corner are going to go on a big camping trip, and they are such nice guys. You hear me say that when I talk about them all the time, that I am going to bake them. That's the timer on my stove saying, hey, we're warm enough. Where's the cookies? I'm going to bake 3 of the cookies in a jar that you guys and I made together some while ago. I have been using those off and on, and perhaps I haven't come back to you to tell you how the cookies were, but every single batch of cookies that I made from these jars was delicious. Now, I don't have a lot to do today. I have 3 loads of laundry to fold because I haven't folded them since I last said I had them, which I think was Saturday or Sunday. Need to make my bed. My kitchen is a tiny bit messy, but while my cookies are baking, I'll deal with that. And then, I have most of the day to myself. And I did a bunch of my gardening yesterday, so I don't have to weed. I don't have to water. I planted fall flowers, so I planted sunflowers, zinnias, and cosmos. And when these batch die out, I'll have new flowers to put in, and I'll have those through September and October. So I'm pretty excited about that. So let's get down to the business at hand. We are going to make, let me come back to you because I don't want to make this recipe until the last one. And the reason I didn't want to make that cookie until the last is because it has cocoa in it, and I want to reuse my bowl before I have to wash it, and the cocoa I would have to wash. Okay, this is actually my favorite cookie mix. This is the vanilla chocolate chip, and so this is so yummy. Here's the jar. I love this cookie. So I say that I'm baking it for the boys down the hall, but am I? What do you think? Okay, I need a spoon. Let's take a look and see if this requires melted butter or softened butter. Softened. Okay, we are good to go. All right, here's my jar. It is just this easy, people. We're going to add a jar to the bowl. Then we add 3/4 cup of butter, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to bring you down. There we go. See if that'll hold right there. All right, here is the mix. Loaded with chocolate chips and vanilla chips. Every good thing imaginable right there. 3/4 of a cup of softened butter. There's the first half, but I imagine we don't want it with the paper. Here we go. So let's get that in there. Lovey, can you hand me the red mixer on those shelves over there? Okay, there's a half. Put in another quarter right here. I'm making those cookies that you're mad about, the chocolate pecan chewy ones that you took to Canada. Although they're for the boys down the hall. None for you. Okay, all right, here's this makes 3/4. It says 2 eggs, slightly beaten. I don't slightly beat anything. It's gonna get beaten when I mix it up. Aren't those pretty? This is Snowball's egg. Isn't it huge? And then I have a baby chicken that's just starting to lay eggs. Okay, we're gonna use these 2. There's 1. Here's 2. And we're gonna use a tiny, tiny bit of vanilla. Oh, there we go. The only reason I'm measuring this time is because it's in a big jar and I don't want to run the risk of having spill out all my vanilla. Okay, so this is the first one. Vanilla chocolate chip cookies. Did he bring me the mixer? Yes, he did. Okay, this is what the bowl looks like. I'm going to mix it up and come back to you. Okay, I am done mixing this and you can see how nice it turned out. And now I'm just going to make some cookies. So I'm going to I don't want them too big, about like that. I'm just going to pop them down here on my cookie sheet. So let me do this part and then I will bring you back and you can see my cookie sheet and we'll stick it in the oven. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I eat the cookie dough. Yes, I do. Love this dress. Okay, let me get these cookies on the cookie sheet and we'll continue on. Okay, my first cookie sheet is done. There are 20 cookies on that sheet, and I probably have enough batter for 8 more cookies. So let me put those on the second cookie sheet, and then we'll make our next batch of cookies. All right. There are days I hate this phone. So we are making the oatmeal scotchies. And I don't know where it cut out at, but I used my jar of oatmeal scotchy mix. I added 3/4 of a cup of softened butter, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix that up, and then I will come back to you. Okay? If the phone will do its job. Girl is still eating cookie dough. All right, let's look at the bowl. This is the oatmeal scotchy. And I am about to portion it out onto my cookie sheet. So let me do that, and then we'll get back to the third batch. Okay, right over here are my oatmeal scotchies, and I'm going to go ahead and bake those 2 cookie sheets right now. And while those are baking for 10 to 12 minutes, we will mix up the chocolate pecan chewy cookies. Okay, we are back for recipe number 3, and that is going to be the chocolate pecan chewy cookies, which you and I made together around middle of June. So this is what the jar looks like. Super pretty, right? We're going to dump it in a bowl. And usually you do have to take your spoon and kind of get it out because you do pack it in there pretty tight. Here we go. Okay. Let's get all of that in there. And to this, we are going to add a 1/2 cup of softened butter. Feels like it's soft enough. We're going to add 2 eggs. Today I'll be using those eggs. These are my chicken's eggs from yesterday. And we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Here we go. It's my good vanilla. And we're going to mix this up. I will be mixing that offline because you guys don't need to listen to the mixer for 2 or 3 minutes. So let me do that. My timer is on for my cookies in the oven. And once I get this mixed, I'm going to start cleaning up my kitchen. And then we'll see what it is I need to do next. I do have some maintenance things to do. I need to chop up some lettuce and get that cleaned up and ready to go in a salad. I've got some cheese that would benefit from being grated and put into small bags so I can easily use it. I do need to wipe and clean out my refrigerator, but do I really feel like doing that? I do not. So we will see. And I kind of want to make some more cookie mixes, but I don't necessarily have to do that today. We'll see. And just like that, the chocolate cookie dough is made. That took about 1.5 minutes to mix up. There it is. And I have 2 additional cookie sheets in my closet area over here, so I will grab them and we'll get those other cookie sheets filled with cookies and ready to bake. We're rocking it, people. Okay, while we're waiting for our next batch of cookies, I am of course drinking my juice. Today's juice is pretty standard. It's carrot and apple with some orange cubes in it. I don't know if you can see the cubes. Doesn't look like it, but they're in there. Love it. So I have 1 bag in front of me of frozen apple juice, and I have 1 more bag of frozen juice in the freezer around the corner. The boys back there, they're bachelors. They don't stick that much in their freezer, and they allow me to use half their freezer to stack up my juices. So you can see why I want to bake for them, because, you know, they're lovely to Addie and I, and we try to be lovely back to them. So anyway, juice, okay? And juice. I'm going to leave this out on the counter to thaw for a good portion of the day, and then I'll put it in jars and put it in the refrigerator for tomorrow. Now, I am thinking about mixing up some cookie mixes, but the first thing I want to do is get done baking all of the cookies that I'm going to bake today. Here's my orange cubes. I'm going to put those back in the freezer. They were outside, but I'm wondering if I can freeze them in here. Yeah, it looks like I have room right there. Okay, so that is good. My husband built some shelves for our front deck, so I'm going to go put some potted flowers out there from my greenhouse and my garden, and we'll make that pretty out there. He loves to sit out there in the afternoon because it's nice and cool. So I have 3 more minutes on my timer. As you can see, I have 1 batch of cookies cooling there. I have another batch right there. And I have 2 cookie sheets in the oven. All right, our cookies are packaged up and in the boys' freezer. And I'm just going to, I cut the ends off of my parchment paper. And I don't know about you, but parchment paper can be expensive, and I don't always love to buy it. I do like to recycle it. So I just take my parchment paper and I fold it into squares about like that. And then next time I bake cookies or anything else that needs parchment paper, I've got some that I can recycle and use again. There we go. And it's just one little tiny way that I save money. My grocery budget outside of the food bank is still pretty small. I try to stay within $35 a week. And I don't want to be spending my $35 on parchment paper until I absolutely have to. Now, I'm going to grab one of my recycling bags. Oh. Looks like I have a bag of parchment paper that I forgot about, but that's okay because I will reuse this. When my parchment paper is empty, I'll know that I have a bag of recycled parchment paper I can use, and that will make me happy. So there it is. Okay, now, while I was off camera, I wondered if I could fit the Nestle Toll House chip recipe in a jar, and I almost can. So the single, not doubled recipe on the back of that container calls for 2 cups of chips. And 2 cups of chips will not fit in the jar, but 1 cup of chips does. So you can bake your Toll House cookies in a jar with 1 cup of chips, or you can just know that you're going to need to add another cup of chocolate chips when you bake them. And I'm okay with that. And you could add nuts at that time as well. So I have at least 1 jar ready to go. I need to put a label on it because I will not remember what I did here.